Looking forward to this. Long time no seasonal report here, Joseph.
No kidding.
You bring us up to speed.
Give us a brief economic update.
Well, Terry, I think right now, I mean, we're recording this at the early part of May, and there's nobody out there that doesn't have some concerns about what's going on politically, what's going on between the two parties, how there's a huge divide within one party over the other party, and the issue about tariffs. So I really kind of want to record this towards, we can put this out and have Colleen put it out to, to the high desert and to Spring Valley Lake and our friends, but more importantly, our clients. A long time ago, I learned if there's no pain, there's no gain. And back in January, I've been proud to be a part of France Publications Inland Empire Economic Summit that Scott France and his group have put on out of Atlanta. And I was on a panel this year, and the moderator, kind of clear blue sky, said, hey, Joe, what do you think about tariffs? Kind of swallowed really quickly, and I thought, well, I said, and there were 300 people in the room. I said, I strongly support what Donald Trump's doing. Now, not everybody likes Donald Trump, and that's okay. Okay, I don't like all the stuff that he does. But the one thing I do like is the fact that he's taken leadership this time. I think he's very different from where he was last time. And if you go back and you look at his career, back in the 1990s, he did an interview on the news, and he talked about the tariff issues and what it was doing. About 2 weeks ago, before Deb and I took a cruise, I spoke to about 40 educated, retired educators up here, and had a great time doing it. But when I'm speaking to a group like that, I really like people everybody to ask a question, because people don't want to hear you speak. They want you to answer a question, and they want it done candidly. So the first couple people, it was all about the tariffs and housing prices and then crime and some other stuff. So I started off, and I knew that, many educators, many of my friends that are educators are typically Democratic, which is okay. I mean, let's just kind of call it the way it is. And I knew that it would be sensitive. So I said to them, you may not like this answer, but I support Trump. I think that he needs to do this. There's no pain, there's no gain. But at the end of the day, I said, are we going to leave our kids and our grandkids with a $40+ billion trade deficit every single year for the rest of our lives? Okay? Terry, what I noticed was a look on people's faces. Because as soon as you say my grandkids, now you're hitting the heart of everybody loves their kids, but they really love their grandkids because the grandkids are that, next extension. So, for our clients up here, the last couple of years in real estate have not been great. They haven't been bad, but every deal has been a challenge. There were still plenty of land sales done last year. It was just recently reported by one of our competitors. There are nearly 1,600 land sales done within the high desert region. Interest rates are having an issue. Interest rates are having an issue in cap rates. Industrial is still doing fairly well. We have a very small supply. We still have a lot of deals being processed. I mean, Amazon just broke ground on 2.5 million square feet under one roof. The challenge that they're going to have is they'll have power for part of the building, but not power for all of the building. Goodyear's finishing up a 1.3 million square foot deal out at Prologis. So there's a lot of positive things happening, and you look at, Apple Valley's got a new Hobby Lobby and a Marshalls and a Five Below coming in. They got a new center with Aldi's coming in. Victorville's got some more retail coming in. There's a lot of exciting things happening. And then Silverwood. I mean, Silverwood's doing real well. I mean, I just had a chance to have lunch with John the other day with Francisco, and as of May 1, they've sold 59 homes. And then the 5 builders out there, so they're now 3 weeks into their sales campaign. They had over 4,000 people sign up on the interest list, which they thought they'd get about 2,000. So they're twice ahead. On the grand opening weekend, they had 1,125 people sign a card saying, I'm a prospective purchaser. Okay, they sold like 51 the first weekend, then they sold like 8, so they're at 59. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's so mind-boggling every time I'm out there. You're just in such a total different setting. And so they're doing really well. Housing sales throughout the valley are a little bit flat. We have a neighbor who has his house on the market, and his real estate agent was over there today. His name's Matthew Jenkins, and Matt's with KW Keller Williams. He's done a really good job. He's got a great team, real solid. And what he said is there's still a lot of movement. There's still a lot of showings. So this house has been shown, let's say, 70 times, but the right price. So I think it's driven a little bit more by price. But what Matt said is that people are still coming up here and they're still looking because they can't do anything below, but they want bigger properties. They want a place for their RV and their boat and things like that. And if you take a look, if you travel enough, there's a lot of people out there with RVs and things like that. So, I think the industrial market's going to do well. I think that hopefully by the end of June we'll hear some real positive that Brightline's moving along. I think that Brightline's going to happen. I think that that's really positive. I think that the most positive thing that we've seen since the beginning of the year, outside of, I think that Trump's doing a great job with Doge. I mean, how can anybody in the world not appreciate trying to clean up government? Terry, I just watched a segment today for 15 minutes this morning at 4:00, okay, where Elon Musk does do you know when he meets? Once a week. Do you know what time? 10:30 at night,
Right.
in the Eisenhower building. I mean, hell, I'm 2.5 hours of sleep, So how can anybody watching this be mad at him? I'm not a Tesla guy. I don't want an electric car. I never want to have an electric car. But you know what? I admire the guy because he's taken the time. He's taken some financial hits. I think, in America, we should be proud of what we produce. We shouldn't be negative. We shouldn't be jealous of this guy. So he's worth $200 bazillion. God bless him. You know what? And I don't care where his citizenship is. I care about the fact that he cares about our country. And they've already found $163 billion. So, but I think I think that BNSF, and I take my hat off to, the city of Barstow city leadership. They now have a new city manager out there, and to Jeanette Hayhurst. So Jeanette is a former employee of the city, retired. Her and Mike moved up to outside of the Reno area, outside of Reno, or the Minden area, and they brought her in very smartly. And she acts as the conduit between BNSF and the city. And things are humming. I happened to call her about something the other day, and I've known her for 30 plus years, and I have never heard her so amped, so hyped. Joe, this machine is running, and we're running well. So what does that mean? BNSF has gone from having a $1.5 billion investment in this project out there now to $4 billion. How do you go from 1.5 to 4 billion? So they've lost a little bit of time in their entitlement process. The EIR is going to be really expensive. They hope to have that in by the end of the year. And there's not sitting around. As Jeanette says, they want to be in the ground. It's a 3-year build. So that I think is really, really exciting. I think it's going to have a huge impact back on the housing market here. For those home builders that are going to be building in Atlanta and Victorville and Northern Hesperia and Apple Valley, they're going to get those people on out there because you're not going to be able to build as many units as you need out there in Barstow as quick as you want. But we're still getting plenty of people calling and taking a look. I think there's a little bit of intrepidation out there. Just people are kind of, what am I going to do? And do I want to wait? But for those companies that need to do something now, it's full speed ahead. I will close and say this. I was on the phone last night with a young man from one of the top brokerage companies. And we have a lot of friends at a lot of the brokerage companies. And he was calling me to verify a deal. And I just said, hey, how's it going? And he's been in the business for 3 years. Nice kid, good looking, well built, intelligent, just it really has the right package. He said, Joe, the last 2 months have been brutal. He said, we've lost our team. So he's on a team. Have lost 5 major deals, and they all deal with tariffs, and they're kind of the fallout of tariffs. And as we do another couple slides, I'll read some stuff from one of our logistics guys. There are actually 2 of them. We have John DeCesare, who's like the world's expert. We have John Monroe, who's a good family friend, and see what they say. The tariffs are going to have an impact, but they believe that this is a short term. John wrote something that I'll share in one of the panels. That in 2 months that he thinks that this will be over. So I think people panicking and saying that Trump's driving the economy in the ground, and my 401k went down, and my investments have gone down. We play the market pretty hard, but you know what? If you're playing this long, let's play for the United States of America, and let's try to literally leave a better place for our kids and our grandkids, and hopefully our great grandkids to. So That's my kind of brief update.
Be watching for Joseph W. Brady upcoming reports, including challenging the status quo at Spring Valley Lake and spelling out advances at Victor Valley College. We do appreciate you being with us this time around.